You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
I will be going over a book review, a brand new product from a lighting company that is dedicated to being the first company that really works on day and night, charge up and wind down based lighting. Going over 2 interviews I was on over the past couple weeks. A lot of fun being on those interviews with many more to come. And then 2 great research studies as well that I think you'll be interested in. One's on intermittent fasting and the other is actually on body mass index and whether it actually matters in 2020. So again, love the research, love being able to bring you these things. Again, some people don't always like what the research says, but nonetheless, I do want to bring it to you, and I just want you to keep always an open mind. You don't have to believe it, you don't have to absorb it, you don't have to actually implement it in your life, but just staying open allows us to have conversations. It allows us to have discussions, and we can do it, and I believe, a nice, amicable-based way where we can leave at the end, even if we don't agree, as at least sharing both sides to the story. So, love being able to talk health, wellness, weight loss, anti-aging, all things in between on the Friday reviews. And so without further ado, let's dive right into the show. So as I'm recording this, as I'm releasing this now to you, this podcast, I am traveling still in Australia. One of the amazing things about really the world that we live in right now is being able to connect with people from all over the world through the amazing ability that we all have, I think, to connect just on social media. And a lot of the relationships that I'm meeting with people right now actually come from just chatting for the last couple of years before I ever had the opportunity to visit Australia. Now I get to meet many of those people. So super exciting, really enjoying my time here. The Australian people are absolutely amazing. It is my first time down under, and I look forward to coming back many, many more times. The nice thing too is that having a virtual-based career, which I do, I'm able to record, whether it be an interview with someone or it would be a podcast or it's to work with my team, and they're in time zones all around the world as well. So really, it's a great thing. I'm with my family right now, spending a lot of time with them. It's much more beautiful weather, about 50 degrees warmer here, Fahrenheit, in Australia than it is in Boston, Massachusetts, which of course, then I'm hoping when we get home, it might be in the mid 40s to maybe low 50s if I'm lucky. So excited about being able to travel really all around the world and have an amazing team that I can count on back home, and also be able to meet many, many interesting and great people and enjoy other cultures as well. So not a lot going on specifically in terms of IHP. We had an amazing opening that I chatted about last week as well. So each and every month, love being able to welcome all of our new members into the fold and into our community, really introduce them to what we're all about, which is first, again, if you have any issues yourself, our goal is to help you heal. Like that is our goal with the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute. Help you heal because you're going to learn so much along the way. I mean, the majority, I really believe this, the majority of the health practitioners you see out there, they got into this field because they needed to heal themselves. I'm no different. So our job is to make sure that all of those people entering the program find their answers, and they'll work through their answers, and they're going to learn a lot in the process. And then at the same time, we want them then to begin to heal others. So heal yourself, heal others is our tagline over at IHP. And it's something that we really live by and that we stand by. It truly is. So love that community over there. Amazing, amazing people, many of which I'm meeting in Australia. All right, so I'm going to dive right into my topics for the day because I'm excited about a bunch of the things that I want to share with you. Before I get started, I want to share 2 shows I was fortunate enough to be on. The first is The Art of Living Well. And that podcast, The Art of Living Well, is actually hosted by Stephanie Potter and Marnie Marmet. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing your last name correctly. 2 amazing women, and they are integrative health practitioners. They are certified health coaches through IHP, started their own podcast, and they are doing exactly what we all hope that our IHPs do, and that is spread the mission of really teaching people the de-stress protocol, teaching people not just what we share inside of IHP, but the knowledge that they've accumulated as well. So I will link that up today. All of the show notes today will be at stephencabral.com/1498. Please do check that out, stephencabral.com/1498. And you'll be able to see my show with them. It was episode 16. So the podcast just launched not too long ago. And this was a couple weeks back. And the title of that show is A Taste of How to Get Well from the Inside Out. And so much more, including stress, digestion, longevity, detoxing, acne, with Dr. Stephen Cabral. So that's episode 16, and I will link it up right at stephencabral.com/1498. All right, great show. Check them out. The other one was with Mimi Burchard, and her podcast is called the Mimi B Podcast. That was a really exciting and fun show dedicated to really talking about female hormones, talking about premenstrual-based issues that can come up, talking about different herbs to use. We talked about detoxification. We really went in depth on how to discover, find out, lab test, all of those different things about how to build a deeper sense of wellness. So really looking more at the core values and the deeper level of uncovering what's really wrong, meaning like, listen, a lot of people go to their doctor and their doctor just says, listen, your blood work looks like it's within range. There it is. So what do we do? Well, there's nothing left to do. But so many men and so many women are out there feeling like something's still wrong. And that's why, one of those great books is called My Doctor Says I'm Fine, So Why Do I Feel So Bad? Well, we really went into that on this podcast. So you can check it out on the Mimi B podcast. And again, I will link that up today at stephencabral.com/1498. Really fun getting to chat with and meet Mimi for the first time. A lot of passion, a lot of dedication to the field of health and wellness. So really great. And again, I will link that up. Thank you, Mimi. All right. Next up, we are going to be talking about Brilli bulbs. And Brilli bulbs is that company that I was chatting about just a little bit earlier. Brilli bulbs, that's BRILLIBULBS, Brilli bulbs, is one of the first companies that's just completely dedicated to helping people rewire their circadian rhythm through light. And so essentially that means waking up in the morning with energy and then winding down at night. And we're doing that through essentially blue light in the morning and no blue light at night. Now that's a very oversimplification of it, but what Brilli bulbs hopes to do is actually work on what's called melanopic and phototopic light and ratios. Let me explain a little bit about what that means if you've never heard about melanopic and phototopic light. So melanopic is what the body perceives and how it changes your biology. So the more blue light in the morning, and just again, you would get this naturally outside if it's a nice sunny day. The problem is, especially in Boston, for let's say late October, November, December, January, February, and most of March, you're not going to get the sunniest days. And yeah, there's sun, but maybe it's like half of the days. And then we've got gray days the other half of the time for those winter-based months. So what you can do, though, is you can actually try to simulate what the sun would do, and it can begin to wake you up in the AM. And then phototopic is the amount of light that you would normally experience if you were outside. So what we're trying to do is not douse the body with light. It's actually, how do we get the right amount at the right time of the day and then the right spectrum? So, for example, when we're talking about the evening light, well, we want that blue light to be really, really low, especially 2 hours before bed. It's one of the reasons why I highly recommend wearing blue blocking glasses at night. Because if you pick up your phone or you're watching TV or you still have lights on in your house, any of those things, you're going to get blue light from that. And it will not allow melatonin to start to be produced to the level that it needs to be. And melatonin is what's going to help you get into that nice deep sleep. But melatonin is also a very powerful antioxidant and plays a major role in cancer prevention. Okay, so super important to look at that. So what Brilli has done is they've created something called charge up lights for the daytime. That means anything that you're using during the day for your lights, and you could have a separate lamp. You can put these in your bathroom. They actually make a bathroom display. that will brighten it up, okay? So that will give you more of the energizing light. And then towards the end of the day, what you will get is less than 1%. Well, I just know that it was somewhere like between 0.5 and like 1.6% blue light. So almost no blue light in those evening lights, which is exactly what we want. So that's what I'm looking for. And also, I emailed the company to make sure that inside of these LED lights that there was no mercury. And they assured me that there's no mercury in the lights as well. That's really important. Just in case a light bulb ever broke, super, super important. And I just don't want that. The other things that I did when I was looking at my research for this company, because people really have asked about, where can I get good quality lights for this type of thing, like not a lot of blue lights at night. Well, they have a couple more things. One that helps with eye strain, so it's diffused light. And the other is that there's flicker sensitivity, which I had never even heard of before, but it makes total sense. Because every time a light flickers, that's more eye strain. So I really like that. And the last thing was that they are well building certified, I believe. I think it's a certification that is for companies that are looking out for the environment, air and water and everything in terms of overall health. That's called Well Building Standard. So they are a company that you may want to check out if you're looking into, if you have lamps in your house or you want to change out certain bulbs. The biggest and most important to me for sure is the evening ones. You want to get an amber colored bulb or you want to get a low blue light bulb for maybe the nightstand lamp in your room or anything like that. You just don't want all that blue light at night. So again, check out Brilli. I will link them up today. If they end up giving our community a discount, I will certainly put that at StephenCabral.com/1498, and I will link up the charge up bulbs and the wind down bulbs as well. All right, next up, we have a new book that I just picked up. It's basically one of those things that's new to me, but it's been out for a little bit. And I got this book because it's part of what I'm going to be teaching in our next course in IHP. So our next course in IHP is delving deep into how to master the art of health coaching. So it's being able to really break past barriers and boundaries and helping people create greater change. Because oftentimes we know in our life that we know what to do, right? We know what to do a lot of the time. So why aren't we doing it? So you can give someone the best protocol in the world. It's like, for example, the CBO protocol works without a doubt better than anything else for digestive-based health. Without a doubt. I mean, we guarantee it. I don't know anyone else that does that for a 12-week program. Guarantee it. And so here's the thing. So we know something like that's going to work. Well, why is it that some people, they just can't get started with it or they can't, whatever it might be? Well, that's what mastery is all about. And so this book is really nice. And so it was published about 4 years ago, or actually 5 years ago. The author's name is Douglas Stone and Sheila Heen, and it's called Thanks for the Feedback: The Science and Art of Receiving Feedback Well. Because one of the things that we teach inside of Mastery in IHP is actually talking about this thing we call active listening and being able to engage, motivate, but at the right level with the client. Meaning, like, we need to connect at a deeper level so that they understand that we're here for them, that they can trust us, that we have their best interests in mind, and we'll be here all along the way. If they have a slip up, that's okay. We're not judging them. We're here to help. Everybody slips up. Everybody doesn't get it right the first time. Very, very few people. I mean, I can't think of pretty much anything I've done the first time and got it right. And now I just expect that. That's why life is easier for me. Not because it gets easier, but because I look at it differently. I just expect not to get it right the first time. And I just say, okay, well, there we go. Get that one out of the way. All right, here's the next one. Got that out of the way. And then I can actually start to get better at it. So here's the thing, though. When I was reading this book, it helped me more than probably it's going to help maybe even a lot of our IHPs. I really love this book, especially for anybody in the public or just in relationships. They're trying to improve their relationship as well. Sometimes you'll be chatting with your partner and you'll say to the person, like, how did you hear that? I didn't say that. Right? It's almost like you're speaking two different languages. And well, the reason is you're saying one thing and they're hearing another. Well, it's very interesting how this happens because we're coming from it from our viewpoint, from our vantage point, and that's the only vantage point we can come at it from. So this book, though, allows you to step back and just understand most people, now some are, but most people aren't out there to get you. There's always, as they say, trolls online that are just going to be negative, and that's just the way that it is, and that's okay. No big deal. You just let that go because they're not part of your tribe, your community anyways. They're just not your people, and that's okay. There's no worries with that. But this is a really nice book for anybody looking to improve relationships as well as be out there in the public eye and just be okay with feedback. And this is, again, a really concise book on how to do that. So I'm enjoying it. I'm not all the way through it yet, but I'm about halfway through. And even halfway through, I can let you know that I do give this a recommendation. So again, I'll link that up at StephenCabral.com/1498. Okay. So now we are on to our research for the day. I've got two great research studies, and I love looking through this. This was in a journal that I receive as, I don't know if this is for naturopathy or what, but yeah, I just, because I tear articles out of everything. So at least it says under this is natural health studies. So this first one is from, let's check this out. This is from PLOS Medicine by Manuel Rivas of Stanford University in California. And of course, I will link up the research today at that show link. Okay, so here it is. Lower BMI means lower diabetes risk even among non-overweight people. Why would I bring a study like this to you? Because you remember, I want to bring you the studies that actually have impact on your life. Well, the big thing is this, is that type 2 diabetes is going to be one of the top 3, if not already, causal factors for disease, rapid aging, leading to Alzheimer's as well. We call that type 3 diabetes, and mortality by the year 2030. And again, we're looking at 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3 people potentially. That's way too high. Even for teenagers, it's now at 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5. So we have to take type 2 diabetes seriously, but I want to go through this with you really, really short. I'm going to read it to you now. Large study, so that's why I love bringing this to you too. Weight loss interventions have shown demonstrable benefit for reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes and high risk and pre-diabetic individuals, but have not been well studied in people at lower risk of diabetes. So this is the first time. In the new study, researchers studied the association between BMI, diabetes, family history, and genetic risk factors affecting type 2 diabetes or BMI. They used data from 287,394 unrelated individuals of British ancestry recruited to participate in the UK study. Nearly 5% of the participants had a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes, and diabetes prevalence was confirmed to be associated with higher BMI, a family history of type 2 diabetes, and genetic risk factors. Moreover, a 1 kilogram per meter squared, it looks like, BMI reduction was associated with a 1.37-fold reduction in type 2 diabetes among non-overweight individuals with a BMI of less than 25 and no family history of diabetes, similar to the effect of BMI reduction in obese individuals. These findings suggest that all individuals can substantially reduce their type 2 diabetes risk through weight loss. The author said, however, they also caution that the results must be taken with a grain of salt because they are looking at overall or didn't look at overall weight loss interventions. So I want to explain that as well. So what we need to talk about is losing weight and losing weight the healthy way, which is what we're starting to get into as well. And that's why I want to bring in this next study in a moment. So we have a study, almost 300,000 individuals, and we are looking at evidence that if we lose weight and we lose weight the healthy way and we get our BMI between that 19 and 24.9, we have less of a chance for type 2 diabetes. And why is that important? Because type 2 diabetes, again, can lead to cardiovascular issues. It can lead to blood pressure, and you're on a bunch of medications, which we don't want you on as well. So that is why my goal for you is, although not everyone believes in BMI, and remember I used to say, oh, don't worry about that. Just worry about body fat percentage and worry about waist-hip ratio. Those matter. But the third one is BMI. And BMI does matter for 99% of people. And the reason is that even at most heights, you do want to stay within a certain BMI. And the reason is that even if it's muscle, believe it or not, even if it's muscle, the extra weight can be a causal risk factor in not necessarily type 2 diabetes, but cardiovascular risk and mortality. So I do believe that for the majority of the population, not everyone, but the majority, you want to stay between that 19 and 24.9. If you don't know your BMI, super simple. I've done many podcasts on BMI, and I've given a BMI calculator. If you go to stephencabral.com/podcast and you type in BMI calculator, you will be able to find that as well. Let's see if we can find it for you right now. I'll actually do it. So stephencabral.com/podcast, scroll right down to that search box, type in BMI calculator, and we should get episode 418. Let's see if it's on there. BMI calculator, there it is. All right, you can just head on over to stephencabral.com/418, and you can actually just click on that. There's one other episode as well, and that was episode 657, and that was on how many calories do you need to eat every day, okay? Both of those older shows, a couple years old. You can check those out as well. All right, next study is this, and it is from Cell Metabolism, published just about 3 months ago. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but what I'm going to do is, because this is quite long, what I'm going to do is actually share with you the results of the study. Okay, so the study is basically titled, Eating Within a 10-Hour Window May Help Stave Off Diabetes and Heart Disease. Let's open the quotes. We have found that combining time-restricted eating with medication can give metabolic syndrome patients the ability to better manage their disease. Unlike counting calories, time-restricted eating is a simple dietary intervention to incorporate, and we found that participants were able to keep the eating schedule. So if you haven't heard of the 10-hour window before, it's simply eating all of your food, all of your meals within an hour, within a 10-hour window, 10-hour period of time a day. And I'm actually going to give you what we do in our Fatlocity system as well. Of course, we don't use any medications in our Fatlocity system, but here's what I would like to share with you as well. So we don't tell people to get off their medication, but what you'll find is that when your body returns to a normal BMI between 19 and 24.9, when you get your body fat percentage down for men about 14 to 18, for women 18 to 22, on the higher side up to 26%, just depending on your body type as well. What you're able to do, and by the way, you're able to do this by changing your nutrition, your exercise, your movement, your stress reduction, your toxin removal, etc. So when you can do that, your body begins to naturally regain balance. That means achieve equilibrium. And then you can work with your doctor to get off of maybe lower your insulin or lower your metformin or remove your statin drugs, whatever it is. You work with your doctor on that. But I can assure you, we've seen thousands and thousands of people do this. So again, we're not curing disease. We're simply helping people with the underlying root causal factors. And a big part of that is also making sure that your body is at a healthy weight. I'm not telling you that you need to be super thin. I'm not promoting that. What I'm promoting is a healthy body weight for you. And it will be different. I mean, there are many women in my practice. Both are, let's say, 5'4", and one weighs 120 pounds, super healthy, okay? And the other weighs 150 pounds, also super healthy. They have different body types, right? I can't tell you exactly what your ideal weight is, but it will be based on your actual body weight, okay? So, I mean, based on your body type, and it will be based on your BMI and your body fat percentage and your waist-hip ratio, right? They all matter, okay? Because you can be more of an endomorphic body type, more of that kapha body type, but if you have a good waist-hip ratio, and you also have a good body fat percentage, well, then you may just have a little bit more muscle mass. And that's okay, right? That's okay. So the goal is all three of those parameters. But here's the nice thing. Inside of our Fatlocity system, we teach the same thing. So what's a 10-hour window? Well, it means that you're basically not eating for 14 hours. Well, okay, you're in bed for 10, and hopefully 3 hours before bed, you're not eating. In bed for 8 hours, 3 more hours not eating before bed. So now we're looking at 11 hours. We really just need to go about 3 more. So here's what we do. Inside of the Fatlocity system, we're typically breaking our fast around 10 a.m. You're having a smoothie and basically the drink that we talk about to start the day. And that is at a first feeding, basically, meal. And then around 1 p.m., we're doing lunch. And then around 5 or 6 p.m., we are doing dinner. And that allows for this 10-hour eating window as well. Very, very simply put, right? We're eating at 10 a.m., and then what we're doing is we're eating then again at 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So we can actually get 10, and we can sometimes even shrink that just a little bit more. So for me, I am fasting about 13 hours per day, sometimes 14, stopping eating about 6 o'clock at night. That's about 3 hours to 4 hours before bed for me. And then what I'm doing is I will break my fast typically between 7:30 and 8 a.m. So again, a lot of research behind this now, and I don't want you to deny yourself the benefits of all of this great research and really still being able to enjoy 3 good meals a day very simple meals, right? And then be able to get all those benefits too. So hopefully this was helpful. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to write them in over at CabralSupportGroup.com. Feel free to leave a comment on my Instagram account, which is just Stephen Cabral. And of course, I'm answering questions all weekend over at our house calls. So I do hope that you'll tune in tomorrow. Have an amazing weekend. Take care, everyone, and I will talk with you soon. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.